Now at 7, breaking news. President Trump and First Lady Melania testing positive for the coronavirus.
You get close and things happen.
The first family in isolation.
The president does fall into a high-risk category.
And both political campaigns are up in the air as Jill Biden is scheduled to appear in New Hampshire today. We have Team 7 coverage.
A mask mandate takes effect in Cambridge, and it comes as cases climb in Massachusetts.
Plus, a Friday fall feel, but with a few showers.
And
who gives a about the Christmas stuff and decoration?
Melania Trump like you've never heard before, voicing her frustrations in her job as First Lady.
This is 7 News Today in New England.
First here at 7, breaking news. President Trump and the First Lady testing positive for coronavirus. Here's a live look at the White House this morning where they are in isolation. The news sending shockwaves around the world.
The president, who his press secretary says is the most tested man in the country, still contracting the virus that has killed more than 200,000 people in the U.S. We're covering the breaking details from what this means on the campaign trail to the risks the president faces. 7's John Coco starts off our breaking coverage.
Well, this morning, the president and the first lady are isolating. Doctors now say people around the president should do the same, with the top aide first testing positive. Shocking news from the White House overnight. The president and the first lady both tweeting early Friday morning that they've tested positive for the coronavirus. President Trump writing, "Tonight, Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together." The first lady saying, "As too many Americans have done this year, POTUS and I are quarantining at home after testing positive for COVID-19. We are feeling good, and I have postponed all upcoming engagements. Please be sure you are staying safe, and we will get through this together."
This is a very contagious virus, okay? And the virus doesn't care. The virus doesn't care who you are, doesn't care where you are. It just likes to jump from host to host.
A memo from the president's doctor says the president will be watched closely and will continue to work while recovering. President Trump is 74 years old. Experts say the people around the president need to be more conscious about masks.
We see the president's team all the time without masks. It has to be a constant tool. If they go up to the Hill to meet with people, they have to wear masks.
One of those people around the president, Hope Hicks. President Trump's diagnosis came just hours after his top aide tested positive for the virus. Before his positive test, the president said this on Fox News about Hicks.
I was surprised to hear with Hope, but she's a very warm person with them, and she knows there's a risk, but she's young.
Several of the president's upcoming scheduled events have been canceled, including a rally in Florida.
What has to happen now is that anybody that the president, the first lady, Hope Hicks, anybody else that has tested positive, anybody that's been in contact with them for within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes must quarantine. That is what CDC suggests.
Despite testing positive on tap for the president today, a phone call this afternoon on COVID-19 support to vulnerable seniors. Live in the newsroom, John Coco, 7 News Today, New England.
The president has been traveling during the pandemic. In the past week, President Trump visited 5 areas. Here's a look at those, and many are wondering who might have been exposed. Karen Caifa is live in Washington, D.C. this morning. And Karen, what can you tell us about what happened from when Hope Hicks tested positive to the president's positive result?
Yeah, Kiki, certainly a dramatic change of events here last night. We heard, broken by Bloomberg News actually, not from the White House, a report last night that Hope Hicks had tested positive on Wednesday evening for the coronavirus. And that, of course, raised questions about President Trump's health and whether he may be testing positive for the coronavirus as well. He actually called into Sean Hannity's program on Fox News last evening to express his best wishes for Hope Hicks and also to say that he was awaiting the results of his coronavirus test. And about 1 this morning, President Trump tweeted that not only he, but also the First Lady had tested positive. So a lot that transpired in the overnight hours. And now a lot of questions to come, a lot of them surrounding what happens with these final days of the campaign. We are just 32 days away from Election Day, and just 3 nights ago, President Trump shared a debate stage with Joe Biden. They, of course, were at a social distance, but President Trump and members of his entourage in the audience were not wearing masks at that debate, even though the Cleveland Clinic, who hosted that debate, said that people had to be wearing them inside the debate hall. We have not yet heard anything from the Biden campaign as to their reaction, but something to listen for today. Kiki?
And Karen, can you give us a sense of what happens next for the president and the first lady now that they have had these positive test results?
Well, Kiki, they will be in isolation. We understand they are isolating in the residence at the White House, and the White House has canceled President Trump's events for today, but for a call. He was supposed to travel to Florida this evening for a rally. Of course, he has kept up a very aggressive schedule of rallies, traveling from battleground state to battleground state in the home stretch of this campaign, even against the advice of a lot of public health officials in these places. So there are just about 13 days to go until the next presidential debate. We will see if he is actually able to take the stage, Kiki.
All right, Karen Caifa live in Washington, D.C. this morning with the latest on this breaking news. We appreciate that.
And this breaking news could have an impact on the campaigns as we get closer to the election. There are just 32 days until voters can cast their ballots. Today, Joe Biden's wife, Dr. Jill Biden, is scheduled to head to New Hampshire to rally support, but the campaign hasn't said if that's still on since she and her husband were on the debate stage with the First Family on Tuesday. 7's Chris McKinnon is live in Manchester with the details.
Yeah, we've reached out to the campaign to find out if the 2 events scheduled for later on this afternoon here in New Hampshire are still set to go on with Dr. Jill Biden. Of course, there's a lot of questions about potential exposures for the Bidens after they shared that debate stage with President Trump on Tuesday night. On stage after Tuesday night's debate, First Lady Melania Trump and Dr. Jill Biden joined their husbands on stage. Jill Biden was the only one wearing a mask. The Biden campaign has said the Democratic nominee is tested weekly. The campaign has also said it would tell the public if Biden tested positive for the virus.
He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
He's a fool on this.
Joe Biden ripping into President Trump's handling of the coronavirus Tuesday night at the debate. Just days later, President Trump confirmed he and his wife had tested positive.
He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in one another.
We've had no negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl. No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35, 40,000 people at these rallies.
The president's handling of the virus, a big topic of debate.
This is the same man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
That was said sarcastically,
That was
and you
him.
know that.
All right, so we did hear that Joe Biden will be tested for COVID-19 today after the news broke about the Trumps. It's still, of course, unclear if Dr. Jill Biden will hold those 2 events here in New Hampshire this afternoon. We're waiting to hear from her campaign. We're live in Manchester, New Hampshire this morning. Chris McKinnon, 7 News Today in New England.
Also breaking, we've learned that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has tested negative for COVID-19. It's the first result so far of testing those close to the president as contact tracing is underway. The president's positive test causing stocks futures to drop. Dow futures has dropped more than 500 points right after the president's announcement. Futures are currently down 366 points. And you can expect updates from this breaking story all morning long as we learn them. Stay with the news station for the breaking live coverage.
7 News now, turning to the weather, a cool start to your Friday, and you can expect some rain too. We're looking live over the Bourne Bridge on the way to the Cape, and you can see some fog kind of hanging in the air there.
I was going to say, you can almost see that Cape Cod Canal there, a little bit of patchy fog hanging right over it. Pretty picture, decent visibility down that way. 53 in Plymouth, 59 Boston, 57 in Worcester right now. The radar and satellite composites quiet across eastern and central Massachusetts, but the rain getting picked up there across the western part of the state out through eastern New York. And this is the rain showers activity that's going to move in this afternoon. Rain chances going up right around midday in Worcester County. Some spotty light showers. Thinking a better chance of becoming a little more widespread across eastern Massachusetts here across mid to late afternoon. And then we'll clear it on out early this evening. Bus stop forecast this morning is dry. A few scattered showers on the ride home, guys.
In the coronavirus emergency, the city of Cambridge enforcing a mask mandate starting today. People there will be required to wear face coverings in public at all times. And it comes as COVID-19 cases climb across Massachusetts. Infections jumping to more than 700 yesterday. Before that, daily cases hovered mostly in the 500s. Amanda Crawford live in Cambridge with more on the spike and the efforts right now to slow it. Amanda.
Well, as the state of Massachusetts sees its highest number in months, here in Cambridge, city officials are actually taking a step back to protect people, making face masks required once again. A mask mandate now in effect in Cambridge. Health officials say they want to avoid a major surge in city numbers.
We've seen an uptick across the country. We've seen a slight uptick even here in the Commonwealth, but we're just trying to stay ahead of how this could quickly change on a dime.
Cambridge now requires you to wear a mask in all public areas outside, in common areas of multi-unit residential buildings, and in workplaces, except when someone is in an office alone.
We are not issuing citations. We have yet to issue any citations, but we do reserve that right.
Officials say a citation for not wearing a face covering will cost you $300. The Cambridge mayor released a statement saying, "I am proud that our Cambridge COVID-19 numbers remain at a low positivity rate, and there's no doubt in my mind this is related to our residents wearing face masks."
It's easy. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Why do you put a seatbelt on in the car? It's easy. What are your excuses not to?
The Massachusetts infection map shows Cambridge is in the green, and many people tell us they want it to stay that way.
100%. Cambridge is on the right track. Absolutely.
Governor Baker says he's on board with the plan.
And we said from the beginning, if folks on the ground in particular communities believe they should do more, go for it.
Now, if you have kids, keep in mind anyone under the age of 2 is not required to wear a mask. Remember earlier on in the pandemic, Cambridge enacted a mask mandate. They did away with it over the summer, and now it's back again, an effort to keep people healthy. Reporting live in Cambridge this morning, Amanda Crawford, 7 News, today in New England.
There has been a remote ruling in a class action lawsuit against Northeastern University. A federal judge dismissing a suit filed against the university by a pair of students who wanted tuition refunds when classes moved online in March. And the judge ruling the university did not promise in-person learning. Northeastern University has not commented on the judge's decision.
And breaking news in Dorchester, a fire tearing through a triple-decker home. This is on Stanley Street. Fire crews responding to the scene, working to put out those flames. And also breaking overnight, a fire tearing through a building in Wakefield. Firefighters responding to the call on New Salem Street around 3 this morning. Heavy smoke coming from the building as crews sprayed water trying to get it under control. The fire chief says there are no injuries. The cause remains under investigation.
Route 1 in Chelsea is back open this morning after shots are fired, hitting a man. They say that man was shot near the Carter Street off-ramp last night. That man was hurt but is expected to survive, and police are investigating and haven't said if anyone has been arrested.
Police are on the hunt this morning for a person behind a wild wreck near the Boston Public Garden. Officers say a driver in a stolen truck hit a woman who was standing on the sidewalk and then ran away. The truck ending up on top of a concrete pillar, leaking oil right onto the sidewalk. Witnesses rushing to help the victim who was trapped under the debris.
First thing I heard was the screeching of the wheel, which made me look, and I was watching, and all of a sudden he just hit everything, and everything just went flying, and all the smoke in the air.
And I saw somebody bolt from the driver's side of the cab of the pickup.
Police say the woman was taken to the hospital and is in serious condition.
There's much more ahead on the news station this morning.
Stay with us on 7 News at 7. The parents who could face fines for sending their sick children into the classroom.
Calm start this morning across much of southern New England. Pretty picture over the city of Boston. We do track some rain this afternoon. The timing of that ahead in the forecast.
We're following breaking news. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump isolating inside the White House this morning after testing positive for COVID-19. The couple announcing they were diagnosed with the coronavirus just hours after the president's advisor, Hope Hicks, contracted the virus. Stay with 7 News Today New England for live updates throughout the morning. We'll be right back.